Hello, everybody. This is Scott Bunce, and I'm here again with another great speaker and author, Steve Preda. Steve, welcome, and thank you for participating today.
Hey, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Now, Steve, you actually spoke to my Vistage group, and we were all so thoroughly impressed. I wanted to take some time and highlight what you do, maybe some of the books you've written, some of the chats that you're going out and speaking on, and I think there's a special thing where you've got a new book coming out. So I'd like to hear all about it. So Steve, can you give us a little thumbnail of what you focus in on and what you've discovered that's unique?
Well, so I am now a speaker, author, speaker, and consultant is probably the best way to describe what I do. And my past, I was a business owner. About 20 years ago, I started a company, an investment banking firm, and I grew it. I grew it with some of the tools that I picked up along the way, including the E-Myth from Michael Gerber, which was a very inspiring book for me, and also E-Myth Mastery he wrote, and then Traction from Gino Wickman. And then I got really interested in this whole idea of conceptualizing business tools and kind of building a business up in a very systematic and modular way. So it helped to grow my business. Eventually, I sold it to a private equity group, and we moved here with my family to the United States about 10 years ago. And I was, like you, I was a Vistage chair for a while. For a few years, I had two groups in Richmond, Virginia. And then I started doing EOS implementation for companies. I did this for a few years. But at some point, I felt that I really liked EOS, but it also had the limitations because it is a very simple tool set, but it is kind of an unchanging tool set. And I felt like those clients of mine who really embraced it, they wanted more tools, they want to continue to grow. So I was looking for a way to do that, and I couldn't do it in EOS. So I left and I joined a group called Pinnacle Business Guides, and I helped them write a book about Pinnacle, which is more of an open-ended system. It's more of the Linux of business operating systems, I would call it. It's a collection of tools that can keep a company growing. So that was last year. And then this year I'm coming out with the sequel to Pinnacle, which is Strategy OS, which actually allows you to take everything to the next level. So it allows you to build a strategy, a differentiated and sustainable winning strategy, step by step in an organic way, which I believe has not been possible before. So that's kind of it. I also wrote a book earlier called Buyable, How to Turn a Business into a Sellable Product. And I see these books as kind of part of a toolkit, an entrepreneur toolkit. So Buyable is kind of takes the entrepreneur from the whole idea of how they use my business as a vehicle to my ideal life. So it goes from the ideation of visualization of what do I do with this business, what's its value, how am I going to grow it, how I'm going to transition it and harvest. Pinnacle is kind of the middle part. So when you already know that you already have a business and you want to grow it, so Pinnacle helps you grow it. And Strategy OS is really it's kind of helping it to grow even further. So Pinnacle gives you a full execution tool to have a great, well-oiled machine. So you got your vision, your plans, your quarterly plans, your metrics, your playbooks, your benchmarking your business to other businesses. So that gives you a really good, solid foundation. You can take a local business to the Inc. 5000. And Strategy OS is actually helping you, taking it from the Inc. 5000 to potentially the Fortune 500. So how do you build that uniquely differentiated business that runs with a stack of unique activities and which is constantly scaling by getting into the new businesses, new geographies, doing smart M&A, applying network effects, helping the business to grow that way. So that's kind of my story, and these are the 3 books that I've written recently.
Steve, that's great. I'm glad you've been able to capitalize one after another and that they build on each other. That's very good. Now, would you say that the best audience for your book are people that are just starting a business, people that have existing businesses that want to grow? What do you think the best target is for your either your speeches or your books?
Okay, so my first book in the series, Buyable, this is for everyone who is either thinking about building a buyable business at some point, or they are at the point where they are thinking, how am I going to exit this business in the foreseeable future? Maybe they are thinking about retiring or thinking about transitioning the business or stepping back to a more strategic role. So that is kind of for the broader audience. So even for the small business owner who are thinking about, how am I going to make this business more than just a lifestyle business, and how am I going to monetize it? How do I have to think about it? So that's Buyable. Pinnacle is for the business owner who has a business. Maybe they have already at least 5 to 10 employees or 15 employees, and they want to organize it. They want it to be more efficient. They want people to be accountable. They want to have a structured way of communication and execution. That's who Pinnacle is for. And the new book that is coming out in April, this is for businesses that are already well organized. They are already executing well, but maybe they are not as profitable as they would like because they are not seen as differentiated. So this really helps you create the differentiated business that is unique. It can be a category of one. It can create much higher margin activities where, double-digit profit margin, which can kind of dig a moat around the business so that you can sustain your profitability by building unique advantages. And one of the examples is IKEA, which was founded by a young Swedish boy, a teenager who had a lot of ambition, but very few resources. He was living on a farm in the middle of Sweden in the 1950s, the middle of nowhere. And he figured out that he really understood the people who were living around in neighboring villages and small towns. And he was really fond of pens. So he contacted the Swiss pen company and convinced them to kind of treat him as a distributor. And he used sales letters to sell those pens to people in these villages. And over time, this sales letter morphed into a newsletter, and the newsletter morphed into the IKEA catalog, which became the most published document in the world, 300 million copies published in 2012. So this is the kind of thing that it was kind of constrained, that they didn't hit on the market. He didn't have a shop. He didn't even have his own product, but he could speak and he could write, and he understood the thinking, and he turned it into a competitive advantage, and no one could touch IKEA. No one can still touch IKEA. Their biggest competitor is 1/10 of their size. So this is the kind of thing that you can do if you figure out what your constraints are. You discover your brand promises that you can do because you have overcome a unique constraint, and you put together these unique activities. And that's what this book helps people do when they already have a well-oiled machine, which maybe is not yet world-class.
Well, it sounds like, Steve, each of the 3 books takes somebody on their journey of starting things off, a middle and right up to an exit strategy along the way, and fine tuning, which is really exciting. Is there, I don't want you to give away the farm or anything, but are there any key principles that you can share that maybe are unique from what you've seen other authors or speakers that do in the past, your own twist on business?
Yes. So the unique things in Buyable, what's unique is that I worked as an investment banker for over 10 years, and I lived through a lot of different transactions. I saw how people succeeded, how they failed, trying to sell their business. So I bring over 100 stories from my own experience, my own clients' experience. So that's what's unique about this. Pinnacle, what's unique about Pinnacle is really this idea of playbooks and how to create and ingrain and optimize great playbooks. Gino Wickman in Traction and EOS, it's not so much part of Traction, but they just written a book, a process actually in EOS. So they talk a little bit about how to do that, but I think I've got a much more robust process for this. So that's what's unique about Pinnacle. And also this whole idea of benchmarking your business to the elite of your industry, and how do you engineer your business so that it can deliver that profitability. And then Strategy OS takes it to the next level. It really goes deeper into this whole idea of leveraging your constraints into these unique activities and building a unique strategy stack for your business, and then growing your business in a very intentional way, differentiating and growing. And I have not seen that anywhere. In fact, the reason I wrote Strategy OS was because I was frustrated by how fragmented this whole strategy thought leadership was, and how confusing some of the concepts were, how theoretical they were. So I wanted to make it very practical. I also wanted to make it an organic and sequential series of steps. So I talk about 6 steps that help you build that unique and differentiated and perpetually growing strategy, and that is unique. So I'm very, very excited about what the reaction is going to be. I've got some early readers who are raving about it, and I'm hoping that it will find a good reception in the market.
Well, I'm sure you're very gratified to get these books published. And again, I really enjoyed the speech you gave to my Vistage group. But I'm curious, is there people that you've spoken to or read your books? Is there a story of somebody that had Steve's experience either through a book or a presentation, then came back to you and shared a success story?
Yes, I get regularly emails from people who say how it impacted their life, which is very, very gratifying. I recently got contacted by a reader from upstate New York, and this is a business owner who is in his 60s, and he told me that he was approached by a potential buyer for his business who read Buyable, and he suggested that he read Buyable, and they were talking about selling the business to him. And then this gentleman passed away unexpectedly, and this other gentleman, he finished Buyable, he read it, he listened to it, and then he gave me a call, and he hired me to help him, to coach him and get him to this point so that he can turn his business into a Buyable business. So that was one example. But there are other examples. The Pinnacle book, I got a lot of people who read that and who reached out to me, and some of them hired me. So I guess it is touching some people.
No.
And it's not for everyone, obviously. I mean, these business books are pretty niched, and maybe 100 people read it, and only one is going to give me a call or is going to think about executing it. We know that only 1 out of 100 readers leave a review. So, this is not happening all the time, but it does happen from time to time.
Well, Steve, congratulations on all your success. Now, if people that are watching this want to get a hold of you or get one of your books, what's the best way for them to do that?
So they can check out my books, they read the summaries on my website, stevepreda.com, stevepreda.com, or they can check it out on Amazon. And the new book is coming out on April 10th. It's going to go pre-order on March 27th. So I don't know when this is being published, but by that time, maybe it's going to be available already.
Love it. Steve, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Excited to be to watch you on your journey with these books, and wishing you all the best with this launch of this third book. And I don't know if we call it a trilogy of books, but it does sound like they're intertwined and they progress along the way. So thanks again, Steve, and appreciate your time.
Thank you, Scott. Really enjoyed talking to you.
Okay.